Welcome to our keynote DWG for Mechanical, 2D drawings with support for AutoCAD Mechanical entities. My name is Graebert. Let me introduce you to our two speakers. Randall Newton is going to be our guest speaker today. Randall is a conference speaker, journalist, and analyst. He has been following the CAD industry for a long time and is frequently writing in different media, including his blog, conciliavector.com. Welcome, Randall.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And Robert Graebert is the CTO of Graebert. Robert has a PhD from Stanford in civil and environmental engineering. He has been leading Graebert's research and development team for the past 20 years. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Cedric.
And now we're going to jump into the presentation. I will hand over to Robert.
Okay, let's get started. In this presentation, we will introduce ARS Mechanical, dive deeper into the improvements in our support for legacy mechanical drawings, and conclude with the discussion with our guest speaker. In 2015, we introduced the first version of ARS Mechanical. It included features for mechanical design to create new drawings, but was lacking the features to modify drawings previously created with AutoCAD Mechanical. Now, we are proud to introduce a new generation of ARS Mechanical that is now addressing this need. We invite you to discover this new version in this keynote. So, what are the use cases for ARS Mechanical? While 3D and PLM software are now extensively used, the DWG format remains king for circulating technical information, even on new projects. 2D mechanical drawings are widely used to specify manufacturing tolerances and instructions. We have seen that over the last decades, organizations have accumulated billions of mechanical drawings in DWG format. The new features of ARS Mechanical can be used to maintain legacy mechanical drawings initially created with AutoCAD Mechanical. The cost of ARS Mechanical is roughly 6 times lower than AutoCAD, which helps to optimize your budgets. And last but not least, ARS Mechanical includes all the features of ARS Commander, so the same user can also very well work on other types of drawings. In other words, ARS Mechanical is not limited to mechanical design. Some more details on the product. ARS Mechanical is the software you're going to see today. It is currently available for Windows 64 bits. ARS Mechanical supports 5 languages: English, German, Japanese, Korean, and Polish. And ARS Mechanical supports the 5 most widely used international and national mechanical standards: ISO, ANSI, DIN, GIS, and BSI. We will focus this presentation on the mechanical features of ARS Mechanical. If you're new to ARS and would like to learn more about our CAD features, I would invite you to watch our videos on YouTube and to watch the other sessions in this event. For instance, you will find in YouTube these 3 videos showing how ARS Commander compares with AutoCAD. Feel free to ask our sales team if you prefer us to send you the links. In this session, we will also not speak about Trinity concept, and that is another key advantage of ARS compared with AutoCAD. When you buy ARS Mechanical licenses, you can decide if you would like to buy licenses including our Trinity features or not. If you want to learn more about how ARS is leveraging modern technologies to improve collaboration, we would recommend these 3 videos. Again, if you're not sure where to find them, feel free to ask our sales teams for the link. Before we jump into the new features, it is important to take a look at the national and international standards supported in ARS Mechanical. With ARS Mechanical, you can create mechanical drawings according to all the leading standards. And before you ask, we support both imperial and metric system. Additionally, you can create a custom version of the standard for your company. Using our table editor, you may also adapt our hardware library to add, modify, or remove some parts. You can edit, delete, and activate the custom standard in the standards dialog box. To begin with, ARS Mechanical introduces a new mechanical layers manager and the support for layer groups. Your layers will automatically stay organized as required in the standard chosen for your drawing. The support for layer groups is also included for compatibility with legacy AutoCAD mechanical drawings, where this feature is commonly used to separate layers by parts. All the common layer manipulation operations are available, and you can convert a selected layer to a mechanical layer. You can import the layer settings and properties from another drawing template, or layer setting configuration file. The core set of new features are related to our support for AutoCAD Mechanical part references and related objects. Please note we currently support the versions 2012 to 2018 included. ARS Mechanical enables you to update legacy DWG drawings created in AutoCAD Mechanical. Once a DWG is loaded, existing part reference, part lists, bill of materials, and balloons are natively supported and are fully compatible with AutoCAD Mechanical. Our customers commonly need to update part information in part references and produce updated drawings. With ARS Mechanical, these legacy files can be updated and maintain their compatibility with AutoCAD Mechanical when saved. Let me show you each of these steps in some small videos. The most important new concept in this version of ARS Mechanical is the introduction of part references. Part references mark a geometry as part to be included in a bill of material. If your drawing contains part reference previously inserted with AutoCAD Mechanical, you will see these blue dots indicating mechanical data is attached. This is a key difference with other versions of ARS, as only in ARS Mechanical you will be able to read and modify this information. For example, if you're replacing a part by another, you will be able to update the information, which is fundamental to ensure that the part list and bill of material will remain correct. In the Customization Part Reference dialog, users can specify which component properties are visible in the Part Reference dialog. So, let's create a new part reference. In this example, the spline represents a silicone seal to protect the head of our screw from water. The Part Reference dialog lets users enter and edit the part list related information for the part associated with the part reference. In the Component Properties list, you can enter the specific data for a variety of properties that should appear in the bill of material. By default, this list displays the properties name, material, vendor, node, measurement, and units. You can specify the quantity for the part as shown in the BOM. The default quantity is 1. You can also delete properties from the Properties list of dialog box. And if you attach a part reference to a block, and if the block has already block attributes that have the same name as the component properties, the part reference automatically imports the corresponding values. You can create a complete copy of a part reference, include its component properties data, and the copy part references become a new BOM item. And finally, you can specify location in the graphics area without attaching the part reference to any geometry. When you create new content in ARS Mechanical, you will use our hardware library. After insertion, a part reference is automatically inserted with all the mechanical information. If you share your drawings with an AutoCAD user, the part reference will be recognized by that program. Again, it is fundamental to ensure that the BOM and the part list remain up to date. If you're adding the same part multiple times, the new part reference increases the quantity of the corresponding entry in the bill of material instead of adding another line. Now let's take a look at our BOM feature. By default, a main BOM exists which contains information about all the parts and assemblies in a drawing. A drawing can also have multiple BOMs. You can manage BOMs and BOM data defined in the drawing in the Bill of Materials dialog box. There are functions such as append column, remove column, add items, insert items, remove overrides, and create part lists in the current BOM available in the dialog box. If you see in blue some elements that are overrides, in some cases, there are good reasons to keep a different value, but we see a quantity of 2 for a screw and we can remove this override. I remove the override for now and the quantity of changes to 1, but on a drawing we do have 2 screws, yet only 1 part reference is inserted. To fix the quantity, I open the part reference and increase the quantity to 2. Now our BOM is showing the right value. To continue, I can also insert an item directly inside the BOM. For example, I'm adding the painting that I will need. Inserting items like this is typically useful when no part reference can be linked. Finally, we have the option to remove items from the part list such as the silicone. The BOM dialog can also add other fields such as the vendor column, and we can customize our bill of material and review the accuracy of this data before eventually exporting it to a CSV file for Excel. In ARS Mechanical, you will also find the part list command. You can create a part list and place it in the graphical area. A part list is derived from a bill of material. In the part list dialog box, you can modify the layout of the part list and change the appearance of the part list data by sorting the part list, edit the value in the cell, change item number, merge row, or use column splitting. In the layout settings, you can define the part list name insertion point, options to insert headers, insert title, show group frame, and the line spacing of the part list. Various columns are available in the part list content list depending on the properties of the part references that were specified in the graphics area. You can use group options to wrap the part list as the number of data rows grows. If your part list was previously inserted, you can double-click on it. Alternatively, you can create a new one. To begin with, I will insert the name and vendor column that I see are missing. Note that I can only insert columns for fields enabled in the part reference dialog. You can always update the information from here, but the modification will then be highlighted in blue. When the list becomes very long, it is sometimes difficult to identify each part. Therefore, the Zoom to and highlight buttons are here to help you find the corresponding items in the drawing. Finally, the item column shows the balloon number. In ARS Mechanical, the balloon features supporting part references and item numbers in the bill of material. Balloons can be inserted individually, and after insertion you can select the balloon and modify its style. But you can also save time by inserting multiple balloons that are aligned horizontally or vertically. You can automatically create balloons for all non-balloon part references, reorganize the arrangement of existing balloon callouts. Renumbering balloon callouts automatically changes the item number of the specified parts in the current BOM. After insertion of part lists, we are now realized that our drawing doesn't fit in this frame anymore. So let's create a new frame with a larger paper size. Frames are also mechanical entities following the standard we are working on. The frame includes a title block with attributes that I can update. In any state of the design process, you can add frames and the title blocks to your drawings in model mode as well as in sheet mode. You can specify the frame size, the paper format, and the title block according to the selected standard. In the dialog box, you can specify the insertion scale as well as specify the frame area. At any moment, you can rescale the frame and the title block. Most importantly, there's no link between the title block and the frame. You can delete them separately. You select the Perform Rescale option, select the text entities and dimensions to rescale, and the entities are rescaled and the position does not change. That was a very quick overview of the new features of ARS Mechanical. To learn more, I invite you to watch our videos. To find them, you can start from the Graebert.com and go to the top link for videos. This brings you to our YouTube channel, and you scroll down, you will find the first set of features. To summarize, with ARS Mechanical, you can read and modify part references previously created with AutoCAD Mechanical, import and export step in IGES to visualize small 3D models from PLM software, update part lists and BOM, read the information contained in part references regardless if they were created with AutoCAD Mechanical or ARS Mechanical, create new drawings using our part library and associate to this new content parts reference that which are recognized by AutoCAD Mechanical, and more generally, further document your projects, resting assured that they are complying with the chosen mechanical standard. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and we will transition to our discussion with our guest speaker now.
Okay, so let's start now with our discussion with our guest speaker, Randall. So Randall, as an analyst, you have been following this industry for a long time. Can you give us some historical background maybe about mechanical entities and why until recently they could only be edited with Autodesk products?
Well, the history basically is that as AutoCAD gained the lion's share of the marketplace, they had to continue to distinguish themselves with new features. And the programming technology advanced to the point where they could create what we generally refer to as these smart objects. And they're a great time saver. You have to set it up, of course, in advance. You have to supply the data and set your standards and all of those things. But the ability to do that was streamlined significantly. And it's a real time saver for doing this sort of mechanical drafting. The problem was that the technology only worked inside AutoCAD. It was a add-on to the standard, to the drawing standard, DWG. It wouldn't even be readable inside other Autodesk products that read DWG. For example, Mac users, the users of the Mac version of AutoCAD, couldn't read them as smart objects. So that kind of sets AutoCAD up as, yeah, it's great if that's all you use, but if you need the data to move on to other people, other environments, you're locked in. So that's when Autodesk decided to combine all of their separate versions, special versions like mechanical. They also had MEP and electrical and various architectural products. They've just combined them all into one standard AutoCAD, and it's still required to have only that product to be able to read these smart objects with all of the data available. And that data is the key. People want that data. It may have been created years ago, but they need it and they need access to it. So that kind of puts us where we are today.
Yeah, it sounds like a different age, right? When people were not sharing or having interoperability to work together, right? Robert,
Yeah.
Any comment on that?
I think, I think there was a strategy for a long time to, by Autodesk specifically, to use sort of the lock-in with the data as also a competitive advantage, right? So they wanted to hold the data hostage. They want to make sure that all the users continue purchasing renewals and of their products. And you really only had to do it just to get access to the data, right? As we see in day-to-day life, the drawings themselves might be static, but the parts that are documented are sort of a living organism. And if you cannot edit and update part information, it's a huge problem.
Yes, indeed. Randall, today I would say that you are also the voice of the people watching us. So let me ask you if you had any questions after watching our presentation.
Yeah. The one thing that I think everybody would like to have a better handle on is that this current version, the new version of ARIS Mechanical, can edit objects from AutoCAD's version 2012 through 2018. Now, are you planning to extend that capability to other versions?
I think that's a great question. This is sort of, I think it's for some of the lay people. We know that there's specific versions of DWG that change every 3 to 5 years that are incompatible between different versions of AutoCAD. But Mechanical is even more explicit. With every annual version, they've changed the internal object format. And so today we are releasing support for versions 12 to 18 inclusive. And you'll see an update later this year, or maybe early next year, that will also bring us up to a more recent version, probably 2021. We are open to listening to customers if they have needs to open files from versions earlier than 2012. That's something that our market research so far has shown as not being as relevant anymore. But feel free to contact us if you do have files that are significantly before 2012.
Okay. Another question I'd like to ask is about 2D, 3D issues. Right now, ARIS Mechanical, clearly 2D product. DWG does support 3D displays. I mean, it's built into the standard, but there are a lot of 3D details already. Can you talk about any plans to extend the 3D capabilities in Mechanical?
Well, I think the first place we would go to, right, is saying, well, if we have 3D content, right, and part of a Mechanical product is the support for STEP and IGES file formats, right? So we already leaning into this idea of bringing in further 3D content. And I think you will see that future updates of ARIS Mechanical will make it significantly easier to get the correct views from those 3D parts so that you can do your 2D annotations, right? That's something we're working towards. There are some capabilities already in the systems, and I think we have some videos on that on the website. But as you see with our effort in BIM, right, where we have a similar idea of saying we have a source 3D model and we want to make it easy for you to create documentations of those 3D models, you will see we're going to mimic the same behavior also in Mechanical.
Okay. So the ARIS technology, Cedric referred to it as the Trinity, because you've got a version that works on the cloud in any browser. You have a version that works on the mobile devices. You've extended how people can take advantage of drafting technology. What about, is there a relationship, or will there be a relationship specifically for ARIS Mechanical in this Trinity environment?
Sure. I think the biggest advantage we bring today with sort of this Trinity offering is the ability to bring in more stakeholders into your process, right? So we see the cloud version and the mobile version really as a way to collaborate and share your designs with other users that don't have a desktop installed software. And they can collaborate with you with markups, with comments, etc. Right? We're investigating whether it makes sense to bring more ability into those products for mechanical, such as being able to edit part references also in those solutions. But today, I think the starting point is how you bring those designs to your users, right? And the user could be an installation person in the field, or it could be your manufacturing partner, right? So we do provide this sort of secure sharing ability within the ARIS Trinity, so that you can bring in these external parties without needing to have them have their own CAD license installed.
Okay, good. That's good to hear.
So, Randall, you recently wrote a very detailed article about ARIS Mechanical in Catalyst. I would recommend anyone watching to take a look as well. I think we can hardly close this conversation without talking about the economical aspects, I would say.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think the key argument here, just examining what you've done and how it expands the ecosystem, so to speak, is that you've changed the price point for staying relevant, keeping the old data relevant, keeping the drawing ecosystem that people have created over a generation, keeping it current. And you're able to do that with significantly lower prices. Compared whether it's perpetual licenses or network licenses, there's a distinct advantage there that I think makes a lot of sense for companies.
Well, yes, actually, we've seen over the last few days that the price of AutoCAD has increased again. And basically now, to put things simple, ARIS Mechanical is 6 times cheaper than AutoCAD. But I think it goes beyond that, because it's also the question of having access to perpetual and network licenses that in the case of mechanical drawings make even more sense. It makes even more sense because we hear feedback from companies that we're using so far network licenses because they have many occasional users. They have occasional users because now they are using probably other products for 3D, etc. And when they want to maintain these legacy drawings, they still need to have a lot of people to access these drawings, but probably part-time. Right? And this is where having network licenses makes sense. So what we observed, for example, is that some companies have one network license for maybe 8 or sometimes 10 users shared, right? And the Autodesk has announced the end of the network licenses. They are phasing out this concept and they are trading in one license for 2 named users. The problem that this is causing to all these customers is that if they have 8 or 10 users per seat, it implies that they would multiply their cost by 4 or 5. And this is why we have a lot of feedback also of people showing interest in the perpetual and network licenses for ARIS Mechanical. So besides the cost saving, the fact that ARIS Mechanical is significantly lower priced, there is also this question of flexibility of licensing. Of course, you can also buy a license for 1 year with ARIS Mechanical, but there is also the possibility of choice to have perpetual licenses, network licenses, and this is a flexibility we want to keep offering.
Yeah, that flexibility really impresses people. I think that they can still do things the way their business structure is set up. They don't have to rework everything related to owning their software and using their software for the demands of the vendor. I think people really will appreciate that.
Yeah, so thank you, Randall. I would say that to conclude, I would like each of you here to share feedback, or if you have questions, you are very welcome to send them to next@graebert.com. And we have recorded this session, so you will be able to watch the replay and share it around you. Thank you all for watching and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.